before you freak out, this is editing Days here. I just wanted to let you guys know before we jump into Creative Connections episode 7. Wow, episode 8, Jesus Christ. This video was supposed to originally be episode 7, but due to technical difficulties in life, it is our episode 8. So you're going to hear some mentions of, Thanksgiving. We're past that. I know we're past that, but you're going to hear about it. And I'm going to say episode 7, ignore episode 8, okay? I'm going to shut up. Let's get right into the video. What's up, Deja Works family? It is your host and creative chameleon, Deja, and I hope that you are doing well in whatever time zone that you're in. We're starting. I'm sorry, it's been a day. Today, our guest and creative chameleon is a painter, videographer, and a student. So give it up for the lovely, wonderful Jackie! Jackie! Look at it, look. If you only understood the situations of what's going on. But that's not for you to know. That's for us to know. And that's why we're here.
The movie magic.
No, seriously. But also in the authentic way possible. How are you?
I'm doing my best.
Aren't we all? As always, our creative chameleons never know what topic they have chosen. They only choose a number. This lovely here chose lucky number 15, which is create for self instead of everyone else. Which basically means create for self. Don't worry about anyone else. That's the slang version of it, okay? So, how does one start creating for self?
Ooh, well, okay. I guess all I can think of, I don't even think I have an answer because the answer is too cliche. All I can really do is give an example, like, I'm not really, I don't really dance in front of people. Like, I get really scared because I can't do it right. I know how to move myself. I know how to move my limbs and everything, and I know how to do it, like, sometimes when I put my mind to it, but I'm not very good at it. So it's something that when when I get around people who are doing it, I get nervous because it won't be any good. But then when I'm all by myself, there's this thing that washes over me that doesn't care about that, and I just do it. Like, I just know how the music makes me feel, and I put it out. And it's like I don't have any expectations for how it's supposed to be. I don't have anyone around to mimic. I don't have it's like without fear, and you can just do it without any pressure because you're not expecting anything of it. And I think we expect as artists, if you're watching this and you're an artist, as artists, we kind of expect a lot from ourselves. Like, you can hear from someone that your least favorite thing is someone's favorite thing all the time. But really, what I've heard and what I still can't personally believe, none of that matters. It's actually all about you in the first place. Like, you're supposed to always kind of create for yourself. But as far as pieces that nobody's gonna see, that's totally fine. It's okay to have something that you never show to anyone. It's okay to have a secret thing that you are crazy about, or that you actually hate very much, but it made you a better artist. Things like that are so essential, and we should allow ourselves to look awful dancing metaphorically for art. I've found that it helps to get outside of your medium. Say I'm not a crazy sculptor. if I get some Play-Doh or something, that could be really liberating for me because I don't even know the way around it already. It's not like a foundation I have to go off of. It's all just kind of loose
and free.
Yeah, and you don't have to be scared of it being bad, or you don't have to worry about what someone else will think of it or what you'll think of it. It's like I'm just exist the same way you just happen and exist until that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
You can let your art do that too.
I think that's very important. I feel like for many of us as artists, we always think that our work has to have a result. It always has to have an end goal. And it doesn't mean that you can't have a why, but we're always creating for such a powerful response, or what are they going to say? What are they going to think? And it does become very hard because you kind of can't enjoy the process when you're worried about what everyone else is going to say. Not everyone's going to love your art. That's plain and simple. Your art is not meant for everyone. It's meant for the people that it's meant for. That's one. But I think by going into something, whether a new project or whatever, with the understanding and with the reminder that it's for you, I think is so important, because then when you do put that art out there, it has that extra layer of authenticity. And it's kind of like a F you to the audience in a very respectful way. It's like, yes, I want this response. Yes, I want this, feedback. But at the end of the day, I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. And I just decided to share my work that was for me with you. And it is a hard place to get to, because, especially like as a dancer and just as a creative in general, it's always like you're creating for another person. You're always doing a piece for someone else, or it has to have this, it has to have that. And it becomes like, well, I have to execute at this level every single time. And I think she makes such a great point that it's okay to have hidden works, or work that you don't put out there, or work that was horrible and it made you a better person. It's okay. It doesn't always have to be about the outside world. It does not always have to be about them. And in my opinion, I think for the most part, it shouldn't be. When you create a work, it shouldn't be solely, like, the foundation shouldn't be because of what the response is going to be. It should move you first. It should come from here first, and then that reaction or whatever you want the audience to be should be an afterthought type of thing. You want them to feel, yes, I'm never knocking that, but why did you start the project in the first place? Was it to get the clout and the rewards, or was it to actually tell that story? I think you should just always be connected and knowing that it's for you. I think that makes it so much more powerful. So then when it does get big or whatever, it's just like, it means a little bit more, it holds a little bit more value. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But I never really thought about holding on to works that weren't that good. But I think that's also key, because that is a part of the growth. And not everything that you're going to put out is going to be something that you love. It's going to be breathtaking. And you have to, be okay with that. Which is hard, because we are our worst critics. And we want everything to be perfect and all those different things. Perfection is an afterthought. It does not even exist.
You literally talk someone out of liking your thing. You're like, what do you think of this? And they'll be like, oh, it's not too bad. I like this and this about it. But don't you see how this and this and this? And they'll be like, well, actually, I would have never saw that if you had never said anything.
Or like I think I'm learning how a lot of us don't like compliments. Like,
it intimidates us.
It does. It is very intimidating. Like, oh my God, I love you. Like, stop. Like, we don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking for it to be better. And that, I think, is something that we have to really unlearn. Someone that's giving you the compliment isn't giving you the compliment for shits and giggles. They're giving you the compliment because they see how worthy you are of said compliment. And we downplay ourselves. We're like, actually, no, I'm just this regular person. Stop playing with me. Instead of being like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like, that really moved me. We talk ourselves out of the compliment. We talk ourselves out of it.
And if they're disproportionate, like if you get less compliments than you feel like are warranted, I'm gonna speak for all the shy people out there. Like, you'll literally think something and then always keep it to yourself. Like, literally see someone looking fire, like, and you don't have it, and you just be like, hey, I like your shoes, knowing like, I had to realize how much that does for someone, for me to pull myself out of like being scared, or like being scared that they won't like me. I don't know, like any reason to be scared to initiate that with someone, but like it really does go a long way. But for the opposite side, that like for basically every compliment you get, there's like 3 more unspoken ones, like people who just thought you were really cool probably, and just didn't say that. So it's not even like, even that compliment that intimidates you, like it shouldn't, because it's probably recurrent, and you just would never know, because you're you, like you were the one who did it.
She makes a very good point. But please know that the work that you create should be for you. And regardless of the compliments, regardless of whatever comes next, be proud of yourself for showing up for yourself. It's actually no one else's job to show up for you. So as long as you showed up for you, you saw that project to the end, you made that connection, you took the next step, talked to your boss for that promotion, whatever it is, you showed up for you. And that is the biggest reward of all. Okay? Whatever you take from this, please show up for yourself in any capacity, and know that that is warranted as the pinnacle. That is warranted at the top. Like, that should always be the high five for yourself. I've gotten to this habit lately. If I do something really good, I like high five myself, because I think I'm just giving myself that like good job reminder, because it's so easy to we downplay ourselves so much as artists. We really do. We talk ourselves out, we belittle ourselves, and people see us, but we have to see us. Your work is yours for a reason. It's a part of your gene code. That story is meant to be told from you. So I think that's super, super important. Do you have projects that you haven't put out because you don't feel they will be received well?
I don't think, well, actually, I do have one. Well, okay, I can describe it, because I really just didn't put it out, because it was more of a self-care activity than what I would put it out as an art project. That's probably the only reason that I wouldn't show anyone. But I wrote down, because journaling is something that helps me a lot. So I took a canvas and I wrote all these things that I don't like about myself. And then I painted a picture over it, and I like completely freelanced the whole thing. Like, I had one idea for it, but I just kind of went with the flow and covered over everything I thought it would be symbolic, and I was like, this will be kind of freeing of all these negative thoughts. And it was something, like, it was an activity, but it still proved to be art. So I still have it, and I think it's pretty cool, but I will probably not, like, show people, like, if they ask. I wouldn't put it a part of my portfolio, I guess. And right. I definitely have had pieces where I'm glad that I got past, like, that initial, maybe I shouldn't share, because it was a more, it was a feeling that I wanted everyone to understand. And then it had turned out, for a moment, I regretted showing anyone, because, when my dad, shout out my dad, he crazy. He looked just like me sometimes. Like, I look more like my mom, I'm told, but whew, yeah, definitely my father's child. But then sometimes he'll just like take me off guard. Like, sometimes I'll be like, he'll give me a response I wasn't expecting. And I have a piece where it has me pretty like, it looks like me. It's me, but like, it shows me in a way that I was able to show how I see myself. So it was like me with not even that much body hair, but more body hair that people wouldn't know that I be having. And I really wanted people to know how much that used to disturb me. So it was like a really shocked look on my face, honestly, that I had when I took the reference photo, but I really like kind of improvised that and made her look really disturbed.
Dramatic.
Yeah, I dramatized it a little, and he saw that. It was also a collage of a bunch of evil white women, but that's kind of not important for what I'm saying right now. It was a whole statement. You'd have to be there.
You have to be present to experience this.
But my dad saw this, like, what I've always felt like body hair made me feel more manly. So I feel like this, like, kind of, like, mustached, like, hairy armpitted figure was a little more masculine than I usually present, or that everyone thinks of me, but that I felt of myself. And he saw it, and he was like, well, where's my little girl? Like, something along those lines, like, where's my daughter at? What did you do to her? And I was like, huh. Like, I didn't expect to garner that. I didn't expect this to make you, like, think I didn't like this anymore. Because I thought the fact that I made myself look that way was an acknowledging of, like, this happened, and it can be here, and that's okay, or it can go away, and that's okay.
Right.
Like, the whole piece happened. It was birthed out of a more secure place than I was in with what I was depicting.
Got you.
And he missed that. Like, it seemed like that went over his head a little, and he was really scared of my self-image and stuff like that, and he was wondering, like, why I looked so disturbed and why I looked so manly. And I was just like, but I'm here, and I'm cool. Like, I'll dress how I want, and I'll have my hair how I want, and I get, you know, people think I'm a dude sometimes, and it doesn't break my heart, and I've overcome that. I've overcome Eurocentric beauty standards. I've overcome, like, just the patriarch. Well,
she's like, girl. But no, I think that makes it brings up a very strong situation, a very strong point. I don't have projects that I haven't put out because I'm worried that they're not well received. I just have projects that I haven't put out because I haven't worked on them yet. So there's that. But
that's a big one.
You know, for real. There's always projects that we just like, I'll get to you eventually.
Yeah, there's literally one of mine with her in it, and I still haven't finished it. Isn't that crazy? Like, you did a whole thing for me.
Oh, right. I was like, what? I'm in it. Like,
yep, you were in it.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, this is so beautiful. And then I kept it, and I was like, but it's so beautiful. And I felt, and it's almost this feeling of, if I touch it, I'll taint it in some way. I gotta wait until I'm in the right space, and that's why it's not done
I
yet.
do have work that I've done that won't go a part of my portfolio, though. I created a piece for class. I forget what class it was. It was some gen ed class back in college. We had to do a project that, like, represented something that's going on within our communities that we feel needs to be discussed, and that also kind of had a representation of us as well. So I had created a 4-piece canvas, and I had broken up a woman into 4 different pieces, and you had light skin and dark skin, and that's still something that I think our community, the Black community, struggles with a lot, is the whole light skin, dark skin thing. And I put it together, and it was a great piece. Got an A, but it will never. That's not something I would show in my portfolio. So I do have that, but in terms of creating works that I won't put out, I will say that I do have the thoughts. You get those thoughts in the back of your head. What if this is not going to be good? What if no one likes this? And you get those talking thoughts. And I think in those moments, you have to remind yourself of your why. I think that is, in your why is when you are creating for yourself. because that meaning or whatever, it came from you. That vision that you saw came from you. And I think constantly reminding yourself of the why you got here, why you want to put this out. It kind of, at the point when you're putting in the why, you're never really thinking about the people. It's never really the people that you're worried about. It's something that you think needs to be discussed, or it's something that you think you can spark a conversation about. You know, it's never, oh man, because I want the people to, you know, like it. I want the people to enjoy it. If anything, you try and piss the people off.
As a black person.
No, for real. Like, if anything, you are trying to piss the people off. You're trying to spark uncomfortability. You're trying to spark a conversation that doesn't get talked about enough. You're trying to piss people off. And I think in that is so much fire. There's so much boldness behind that why. So when you get those warranting thoughts, yes, you're going to have people that don't understand. Like her dad said that, and she was like, I didn't think that was going to be your response. Like, because you think that people are going to get it, and they're not. But it's not your job to make them understand why you create.
Yeah, it's honestly their job. Like, his response honestly was right, because it was his. Like, it was his response to some art, and art is subjective. So what he thought, how he personally connected to that, which honestly, when I did it, I didn't think of men at all. So it was so far off the mark for him to even interpret.
And you see how crazy that is?
You know, it's like, it's not, someone can not, it's okay to not think of every facet when you're creating too, because again, it's not for everyone, and it's for you.
There are people that go to like art exhibits, and there's like a dot in the middle of one white ass canvas, and they're like, oh, I'm so moved, it speaks volumes. I'm looking and I'm like, it's a dot.
You know?
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because art is subjective, and it's not going to connect with everyone. So you have to be, especially as an artist, you have to be comfortable with the fact that everyone's not going to like what you put out. And
not even you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the one that's most difficult to get over, because that's who you fall asleep with every night, like without a choice. And it's a lot more, it's easier to do, and it's harder to get over. It's like, you know, one day you might even involuntarily forget that someone didn't like something you did, but it's really hard to forget how you felt about something you did. Like,
yeah.
It's almost like it's so much more impact to you, and it's and it has this, like, it can be your greatest motivator, or it can just remind you, like, of all of the reasons to not do it. Like, there are reasons, and there are things that keep people from doing things, but it's not canceled out by enough, like, self-positive reinforcement.
And don't let yourself be the reason that you don't keep pushing forward. And I know that's easier said than done, so go on that process whatever way you need to, because it's a roller coaster. It is not always, you know, rainbows and sunshine. There's gonna be days you're gonna look at it and you're like, what the hell is this? I don't like this. This don't make sense. That's when you take a break.
Yeah.
That's when you step away. You don't ever want to end up hating your art or whatever you're putting out. It's okay to look at it and be like, I don't really like you right now. Take some time back. You need to revamp. Maybe the meaning or the why is changing. That's okay. That's the beautiful part about being an artist, is that process is absolutely gorgeous, because it's so explorative to you, to what you want to create. And I think that is just something you have to hold on to. But she's absolutely correct. It's so easy to be your worst critic in the process. It's so easy to be your worst critic at the end goal. And at the end of the day, be proud of yourself. You have to be proud of yourself, because you persevered, and perseverance is not easy. It is very easy to quit. It is very easy to throw in the damn towel and be like, you know what? Well, that was it. I'm glad y'all came. Thank you so much. Goodbye. But to be like, no, I actually really am invested in this. I really want to see it through. That's by far one of the best things. So always keep that in mind. And yes, if you have work that you haven't put out because you're worried about what someone else is going to think, disrespectfully, fuck what they think. We don't care.
No.
You have to love it for you.
We cared, and we can even acknowledge that we cared, but we can't continue
You
to
can't.
care.
You can't.
It'll drive you insane. It's kind of the definition of insanity.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Please don't. And then last but not least, have you ever created work that didn't feel like you?
I think honestly, I can go back further than even commissions, because commissions are like very like clear cut, not for you.
Right.
But in a sense, I still consider them for me because they're my children and I have record of them and I show people them still, even though they're not in my like physical possession. Like they're still kind of like attached to me in some way, or if I choose to have that. Okay. But I guess it goes back before commissions when I was doing art in high school, and oh my God.
You bringing up King College Prep days?
Yeah, that hurt just to think about. I actually had a whoosh of this, like...
Bro, when she said high school, I was like, I haven't thought about that place in quite some time.
It wasn't at Kingdom. It was just while I was there. Yeah, this isn't going to be a King story.
I was like, I have not thought about King College
We
Prep.
actually have to bleep that out so it doesn't trigger anybody. But I was in this program like for painters and artists. We were drawing with charcoal and stuff like that. They taught me color theory. I learned a decent amount of stuff, but in return for that, they wanted my soul. And
you just can't throw that out.
And they had it for a decent amount of time.
Oh my God! What do you mean they wanted your soul? What happened?
Well, it was just it was honestly just, it was more so mismanagement. It was very exploitative.
Wow.
They wanted my ability. They didn't really want to pay us much for it. But that was just honestly that was the wave of high school art programs. I don't know about now, but definitely at the time it was like, hey, you want to be an artist, right? So do all this stuff for either free or nothing, and I'll love you forever. And that, like, whether it be adoration or just like feeling like because someone older than you told you, like, this is what's gonna benefit you if you want to be an artist. Like, I fell for the okie doke for a little while. I mean, I had people in my corner who were there to tell me like how hard it was without discouraging my craft, and I really appreciate everybody like that who was like promoting me to find other ways and other ways to express myself and other things I was passionate about other than art. And because it's places like this that are sadly sort of like initiating you, like initiation into a frat, initiating you into the art world, because there's this like sense of self-worth that they're trying to diminish with the fact that they're always like, they kind of see your art as expendable, and they're like one what are they called, like I keep wanting to say overseer. That's not what it's called. It just seemed like slavery because they didn't pay us for our art. They are not an overseer. I was not really a slave by legal terms.
Yeah, by legal terms, no, she was not a slave.
But one of the group leaders of our program would come around and be like, "Hey, yeah, this is great, except for this, and this. You should change it." And then if it conflicts with you like greatly, you change it, and then another group leader comes around and is like, hey, maybe you should change it to this, which may even be back the way you had it before. It's just not a lot of organization with how they even want to direct your vision, but then it's the fact that they want to direct your vision at all.
Right, to begin with. As she has stated, as we both have stated, art is subjective. Art is subjective. It is not going to connect with everyone. It is not meant to connect with everyone, but it's yours. Whatever that is for you is for you. And so for someone to be coming around and be like, hey, you need to, wipe that off and try it again. And then you're like, okay. And like you said, because they're older and like you kind of get into this thing of like, well, they kind of know the way or they know what they're talking about type of thing. And in reality, it is just to self-demean and to kind of mold you into what they think is the correct way to be in the craft, which is, from artist to artist, is very heartbreaking, and I don't understand why that is even a thing.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand why art, like, why would we do that to one another? We are already a tight-knit community, one, and then two, we already struggle enough as is to, voice why we do what we do, why we're in our careers the way we are. So to have another artist sit there and be like, well, you need to change it so that it's comfortable for them, even though it's not them that's creating it at all, is very disrespectful.
Yeah, it would be between, I don't think we had much, we had leeway on what we wanted to create, but it was like no real room for stylistic choice. It was this level of like being a copy machine that you had to have, and like I couldn't see anyone doing abstract pieces in there. I couldn't see anyone like there were just certain things I was taught in art class that not everyone was taught. It was also a level of like privilege that was in that space that that made me feel small and made me not like creating there, because I'm like, not only am I like kind of compromising on these things that I would just do, like I've been told I'm talented.
Please don't compromise.
And then I've been told I'm talented. You bring me here, I do what I do, and then you tell me to change it.
It's
Either
like they're
to
trying
keep
to
me busy,
right.
or
They're just trying to like you said, copy and paste. They're literally trying to make it all look the same. And art, that's literally. Can you imagine a world where art looked exactly the same everywhere?
Yeah.
It would be boring. Art is subjective because of the beauty that it brings not only to people but to the world around us. It's never meant to be the same thing. It's never meant to look like someone else's. It's never meant for any of those things. It literally is a representation of you. You know how people get tattoos and they mark their body up and all those different things? Consider the work that you create tattoos. It represents you. It should. If someone was to go and see something of yours, they're like, "Yep, that represents her." Whatever facet, whatever it is, it should represent you. So when you look at something and it doesn't seem like you anymore, it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks because you're like, I wouldn't have done this way.
Yeah, and you almost don't want to show anyone. And it can be a little boost to hear that someone likes it. But overall, it's like, oh, thanks, I hate it.
Yes. You're like, you love the congratulations, and you're like, but it doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't, like, those congratulations don't mean really anything because.
Yeah, it's like you kind of had a force take over your body and do something at a point. Because back then, it would have either I was just really like I was already kind of a perfectionist and I wanted things how I wanted them. So having someone correct me, it's like, I haven't always been a star student. I don't know why I said it like I am now. nonetheless, I just think that it's like you do your best. Like, you actually study for the test. It's a material that you're interested in. You feel like really confident, and like you get a C. Like, I kind of feel some kind of way about that. Like, I put forth all of this, and then you would change something about it. That's not only offensive, but you actually should have shut up, because this is an art, like, and it's not a class. That's another part that would make me mad about it. Like, you teach me stuff. This isn't for a grade though. Like, I did have a couple of art teachers who would struggle with letting people do what they want to do, because I think they wanted it to be a more respectable practice in some way. Like, they kind of thought, like, I feel like teachers like that, or people like older mentors who like stress on the tradition or stress on the style of how you do something, and doesn't let the kids just do what they do. Like, I feel like they're trying to uphold this prestige to art that, like, people other disciplines kind of laugh off. Like, as someone who is half an econ major, they have their pre-existing thoughts of what art is, and like, oh, artists are just hippies, and they can't have structure in its way. And so there are people who very much stress on the structure of art and composition and proportions and stuff. Like, well, I'm just speaking from like
no, you're correct.
But it's really just like, it's something that I nitpick over in my own head. Like, I'll see like a drawing that's quote unquote bad, and still be able to see what they were doing there, just because I've just like been on that line of like overly obsessive over having it be the traditional way, and like super loose in my
I feel like
methods.
in art, I think the furthest they can go when it comes to like history and all those different things, teach it, whatever. But like when it comes to what you want someone to create, I feel like minimum give a prompt, and that's it. Like, whatever happens on that paper, whatever happens in that movement, whatever happens in the photography, whatever happens outside of the prompt, like, as long as it is in the lines of the prompt, like if it represents the prompt. Like, for example, if someone was like, I don't know, show me the cat experience. I only thought of that off the top of my head because I have a feline. But like, show me the cat experience. And what if she painted like a cat in like all these different forms, and like their face mashed together and all those different things? That's her variation. I moved in a way in which a cat will move, what I thought that would look like, and how abstract that would be. Someone probably photographed a cat in its daily journey outside. All of that symbolizes a cat experience, all of it different, but the prompt is complete. You see what I'm saying? Like, to go back and be like, well, actually, I wanted this. Man, this ain't about you. It's not about what you want. You ask for a prompt, we execute it. And I think that is where my issue comes in, because there's so many times that, especially like in school settings or in settings where she was, where these people of higher ups get so caught up in just overanalyzing another person's art. I don't get it. I don't get how you can. You don't move like them. You don't have the same experiences as them. So how can you tell them what is art when it's subjective to the person? How can you go back in and check and mark and switch up and tell them to change this when it's subjective to the person? I never understood that. So yes, creating work like that didn't feel like you, I think, is something that we can, unfortunately, a lot of us can relate to. And I wish that wasn't the case, and I wish we could like really get rid of that and understand that there is so much subjectiveness in what we decided to do with our careers. We signed up for something that was free flow, fun, and then you get in these spaces where people try to take that away from you, and you're like, I was having a great time until we got here.
And this disproportionately happens to Black people. I also want to put that out there, because I don't know, I think it was the ADHD just chugging, but I just thought about like how we were saying not everything has to be like complete or
Mm-hmm.
like a full cohesive thing to put out to everybody. Like there's this pressure on Black people to be fully realized that it's not on white people, because one of my favorite books that I thought of when I was thinking of that statement is it's like half excerpts of this guy of a story that this guy made up. It's by a French guy named Georges Perec. He was in the Holocaust. His family was taken away. It's called the Memory of Childhood, or A Memory of Childhood, something like that.
I'll add the link below.
I don't know where you can find that book now. Actually, I found it for free. I did find it for free somewhere. I'll let you know where that is.
Oh, please! I would love to actually read that.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was so beautiful. It was half a story he made up while he was in the Holocaust as a kid. He was like 13 or so, and half him trying to recall his life, because he just, like, the trauma of the Holocaust really just like scrambled his brain. And that story moved me so much, because he would literally start talking or like tell this drawn out story of something that happened in his childhood and be like, I don't know though, that could have been a dream. Like, it's stuff like that.
Wow.
It's like you can be along your process and mess up, and that be art even for white people. But say I had put out that story, they would have, oh, this is too confusing, I can't follow this. You know? Because we have enough trauma to scramble our brain and stuff like that. And that's why the story hit me so hard, because I was like, sometimes I just don't know what happened.
Ooh.
Like, sometimes I can't remember. And this guy is that's basically what it's about. He's so keen on this, like, like, my life cut my memory for me, and you guys can just take that as it is. He made us take it as it is, and people loved it, and I loved it. As a Black woman, I identify with a white man. Like,
she's like, wow. Whole new space. I'm gonna definitely have to put that below. I really, wow. Yeah, I do believe there is some pressure. If not a lot of pressure on us, we have to have a full execution. And I think whatever you take away from this today, what I really want you to understand is you are who you are for a reason. What you create is for you. What you put out is for you. And just live boldly in that. And I know that's hard. It's already hard enough for us as artists when people already question us and ask us why we chose this path and what we're going to do with this. Stand bold. You have purpose in what you create, and it is meant for the people it is meant for. That's all I need y'all to take away from this. You got any more nuggets for them?
I think I don't actually think so. I think that was my last nugget. Like,
definitely need that link. So I can put that
I'll
below.
find that book.
Absolutely. Well, lovelies, as always, it is a pleasure talking to y'all. And as always, what are your steps? Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Why? Because that's what you need to do, and I need to be here for these, okay? So you need to help. We help each other out. Because this is Thanksgiving week, I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. By the time y'all actually see this, it'll be past. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. But yeah, without further ado, this is the lovely Jackie. Her links will be below to her socials as always, so please go check her out. She's doing wonderful things. Oh, see how we don't.
Don't look at me.
But that is it. That wraps up episode 7, lovelies. Bye.